Welcome to Johnsequitur, a show about everything.
Hello! Welcome to Johnsequitur. I'm really loud.
Hello.
I'm here again with M. Is
Yay.
that cool that we're calling you M?
Yeah,
That's
that
your
works
permanent name?
That works for me.
Okay. Did you listen to last week's episode?
No, I did not. I was instructed not to.
That's right. I don't know why, because I told them, but then I just did what they said too. So, I'm not in charge of this shit. Not at all.
You're not in charge?
No.
Yes, you are.
Well, I'd like to be, but I'm not. I don't run this ship. But I am John, and the show's Johnsequitur, so welcome to it. I did that already. What are we talking about this week?
Food.
What kind of food? Because
I am mostly vegan.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And half of your 12 followers just stopped listening.
Well, the thing is, this works because last week we literally had a show about how to kill and eat meat. So
right.
We're going to go in the opposite direction
Okay.
this week.
Alright. I can handle that.
You don't eat meat. You did. You don't now.
I don't. So do you want my whole life story?
Start from the beginning.
Okay. So, when I was little, my mom had cousins who were vegetarian. And that was the first time I ever heard of somebody that did not eat meat. And my immediate reaction was like, oh, you can not eat meat? That sounds cool. I did, So several times throughout my childhood, I declared myself as vegetarian.
But that's a hard thing to keep doing.
That is a hard thing to keep doing, especially when you're like 8 or 10 and you're not cooking the meals or buying the food or anything like that.
Sounds like Lisa
So
Simpson.
it was... Why?
Because she's a vegetarian in the show.
Is she?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
You didn't listen to it, so you don't know. But I put a clip from the episode where Homer raises a lobster in last week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
In that same episode, Homer gives everybody steamed cabbage instead of steamed lobster. And Lisa's complaining, and Homer goes,
Pinchy, I made you some risotto.
What? You gotta be kidding me.
What's your problem, Veggie? You don't even eat lobster.
No, but I enjoy the smell.
hell yeah.
Not as bad as I thought, but still.
It's pretty bad. I don't know, Mad Dog's probably worse.
You know what that reminds me of? It was like a New Year's Eve thing or something. It was like a friend of a friend. Anyway, they had taken a whole jug of like maraschino cherries and just poured grain alcohol into it. And at some point during the night, they all start chanting, "Eat the cherries! Eat the cherries!"
Oh,
and
yeah.
I ate like 2 of them.
Boom.
And they were like, "Holy shit,
Yeah.
she ate 2 of them!" Anyway, but that's the...
Did it knock
that's
you
the
on
color.
your ass?
I was a little knocked, yeah.
We had oh, by the way, happy Halloween, everybody. It's
Yay!
not gonna be when this comes out, but
Super excited.
I went to a party where we took moonshine that somebody had went all the way to West Virginia to go get, and then vodka, rum, Sprite.
That sounds delicious.
Oh my! It was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And you drinking it, and you're like, "Is there any alcohol in this?" Boom.
Yeah. Yep. I had those too. Vodka and rum. Those are my...
All right, we got
Nice.
off track.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So this show's going great so far.
Uh,
Perfect.
Thanks. So, vegetarian on and off for much of my life. And then in college, I was like a typical poor college student.
So you ate garbage.
And I did eat garbage, but I will point out that when I was younger, I was always complimented when I like wanted a steak or like ate a lot. Like I was always very small. I'm 5'2", and I weighed 105 pounds through all of my teenage years. So I was like encouraged to like eat a lot and eat heartily and that kind of thing. So getting praise for that, obviously, as a kid, you're like, yeah, that's great. I'll do that.
Well, in America, we want to get fat. We want to get fat fast.
Right.
Been trying my whole life. It doesn't work. I don't know what I gotta do.
Oh, you can do it.
I don't even feel like an American.
So then, in college I ate like crap. I ate like complete crap. And my last year of school, I had a boyfriend, and we just ate our way around town, like, cold cut combos from Subway and double quarter pounders with cheese from McDonald's and all that stuff. And then I was like, the summer after my senior year, I was like, oh my god, my clothes don't fit. Like, what's wrong with me? Because generally I had been able to eat whatever I wanted in the past.
And what do I tell you to do when your clothes don't fit?
Yeah, buy bigger clothes.
That's right.
I did. But then I looked at myself in a picture and I was like, oh, you're not looking good.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking to my mom, and my mom saying, oh, you know how thyroid runs in our family? You need to get everything checked. You need to go to the doctor. And, and I'm like, oh my god, there's something wrong with my... I have an imbalance, and I have a health problem, and all this stuff. So I went to the doctor, and I had all the tests run, and the test came back, and they said, your thyroid is fine.
Stop eating all that garbage.
You gained 30 pounds, and interestingly, your cholesterol is 262.
Holy shit.
Which is the cholesterol of like a guy who just had a heart attack who's in his 50s. And they're like, what's your diet consist of? Do you exercise? And I'm like, oh shit, I do not have any kind of imbalance. I just eat shit and I'm getting fat and really unhealthy. So they put me on a diet that consisted of extremely low fat foods. It was all, the restriction was basically to not consume more than 30 milligrams of cholesterol a day. So it was, rice and vegetables and some seafood. I cut out red meat completely. I occasionally had chicken. But, the thing was fruits, vegetables, oatmeal, that kind of thing. And so in the course of a year, my cholesterol went from 262 to 130.
Damn.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, So I've lived that. That has been like an experience of mine. And that is probably because I was 21 with super high cholesterol. Like, that's bad. And then, having kids, you just get caught up. Quick and easy dinners, whatever you need to do to survive, money issues, you buy what you can buy. And I was not thinking so much about what I was eating as just getting everybody through, surviving, and everybody being fed, myself included. So, the kids got a little bit older, and then I watched some documentaries and went vegetarian.
Those documentaries are spine-chilling.
Yeah, specifically it was Forks Over Knives. That was one of the ones. Forks Over Knives and Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead is another one that were pretty influential to me. And like most people, like, oh, vegetarian's fine. I could never cut out cheese. And
I'm raising my hand, audio
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, I know you're one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I was vegetarian for many, many years until maybe a couple years ago. And then also had issues with weight again, up and down and all that kind of stuff. And then finally, last July, I was looking into environmental type things, low waste type things, which seem to always go hand in hand with veganism. So just in all of my research and looking around and stuff, and then especially there's another documentary called Earthlings. If anybody's ever seen it, it's harsh. It's very harsh, and I was reading comments about it, and people were saying I tried to watch Earthlings and I only made it 15 minutes or something like that, and I was laying in bed late at night.
Challenge.
Yeah, I was laying in bed late at night, and I was like, I'm going to watch this whole fucking thing. I'm going to do it, and was vegan the next day. Now,
Jesus.
Now, I will say, I am not perfect. When people ask, I say I'm 80 to 90% vegan because I have had, on occasion, twice I've had salmon since I made this decision. Twice I've had salmon. A couple times the kids have wanted pizza. I've gotten them pizza, and I've had a slice. I have had some cheese. I have had some things that I didn't think about, but after the fact was like, there's milk in this, that kind of thing. So, I have a goal, but my dad and stepmom had a cookout, and all they had was hot dogs and chicken.
Oh my god, that story is the fucking most frustrating story I've ever heard in my life.
Instead of being like, actually, I am vegan now, I just ate the hot dog. I ate the hot dog and was sick for 24 hours afterwards. Like, it was bad.
I'm surprised more people don't get sick from eating hot dogs, just in general.
I think there definitely is a thing to, like, being used to it.
I guess. I mean, maybe that's why I'm not dead yet.
Sometimes you feel like you're going to be dead, though, right?
Yeah.
I hear your stories.
Yeah, there's been times when I've been like, all right, God, just do it already. Just end it. But it doesn't happen. It's still here.
I don't have those issues. If I'm not eating meat, I do not have... My digestive system is like a wonderland. I'm loving it.
Take that, John Mayer. Well, I could go without hamburger, and for the most part I do. I've never liked hamburger, but it has nothing to do with being a vegan or anything. I just hate the taste of hamburger. Mm-hmm. It sucks. Mm-hmm. Steak is fine. I could go without steak, though. Chicken, I told you today, I am over the moon pissed off because Taco Bell took away their shredded chicken.
I know, and I was like,
you're like, I don't care.
That's too bad for you, but it doesn't affect me.
Yeah. So I had a bean taco today. It was fucking terrible. But
I thought you liked bean burritos.
Bean burrito. Well, I don't think the problem was the bean. They loaded it up with all that iceberg lettuce. It's just gross. It's gross. Like, I could just eat beans, cheese, and sour cream. That doesn't count as being vegan, but I could do without the meat. I'd be fine. What would you call that if you just cut the meat out and that's it, but you still eat the milk and the cheese?
Vegetarian.
I could probably do that. I think I could do vegetarian. I could not do full-on vegan.
Well, and it's not like I'm trying to convert anybody.
Right.
Like,
That's not you doing that, yeah.
The first time I've actually talked, and this is the first time I've really talked about it and kind of like
and I made
come
you do it.
out.
So,
like, and I've listened to some YouTubers and some other people talk, and I don't feel like people that are vegan that just throw a ton of judgment and a ton of like just say things for shock value. I don't think that's productive, and I don't think that does any good whatsoever. And there have been some people I've listened to where they've just rubbed me the wrong way, and I've been like, I don't want to support their
it's about your own
message.
body. It's not about getting other people to do things to their bodies.
Right. And I get it, because like I said, the vegan and the environmentalism and all of that all seem pretty much goes hand in hand as far as what people are trying to convey. So I understand it, but that's just not how I do things.
No, you're worried about you, right? Right. Yeah.
And if people ask me about it, I'm more than happy to talk.
Right. So Joe Rogan and his stupid elk diet, complaining about people. That's the worst stand-up joke and the most lazy stand-up joke. And I swear to God, every stand-up comedian does it. Joking about how their vegan friend is like, you gotta go vegan. Dude, you're lazy.
Do they do that?
You're lazy. Make a better joke.
I know there's a ton of, just the word vegan elicits
a reaction.
Yes.
Do you remember we were walking through Central at work, okay? And I was like, watch this. And I said Obama real loud just to see people turn their heads. That's the same thing with vegan. Like, there's words where, like, people don't hear the conversation, but they have an instant reaction to it, and that's one of them.
Yes, for sure.
There's no need for it. What do you care? Like, why do you care what other people are eating?
People do, and when I was a vegetarian for a long time, the biggest thing that people talked to me or said to me, especially my mother-in-law at the time, was, you need a steak, you need protein. And I'm also anemic, which I have been for years and years, nothing to do with my diet. It's a hereditary thing. So that was of concern to me, so I did have to do research about that. And I mean, it's all pretty much bullshit. Like, if you really are concerned about it and really want to look into the nutrition content of different foods, there's 18 grams of protein approximately in a 3-ounce steak. There's 16 grams of protein in 1 cup of black beans. So protein's not an issue for me. Iron also, there's actually more. The meat that has the most iron in it is actually the organs, like liver and heart and stuff like that. I don't eat that stuff anyway. So there's more iron, or there's about the same amount of iron in chickpeas. I think it was 3.5 ounces of chickpeas compared to 3.5 ounces of some sort of beef. There's spinach, broccoli, I mean, everything.
So, I'm not asking you to do this because I want you to scold people. But
I don't want to scold people.
But I want you to shut down some arguments by doing basically what you just did. Okay?
Okay.
So, I brought this one up. We have canine teeth.
Yes.
Explain to me why they aren't designed for ripping through meat.
Well, they're extremely small, first of all, compared to, say, like a leopard or a tiger's canine teeth.
Right.
Also, there are plenty of herbivores in the natural world that have huge canine teeth that eat a plant-based diet. Wait.
Do you have this written
I have
down?
some on my
Ooh.
phone.
Hey, other co-hosts, take notes. She's taking notes.
I got some stuff here. Hippos, gorillas, saber-toothed deer, baboons, camels. There's some other in here that people here probably have never even...
What do camels
heard of.
eat?
Plants?
Sand?
Wait, it probably says in here. Foliage, dry grasses, desert vegetation, thorny plants.
Oh my god, camels' lives suck.
So the whole canine thing, and I mean, obviously, the way that a leopard would stalk, hunt, and then tear apart its prey, biting into their throat or whatever. Like
We're not gonna do that.
This little tooth right here is not meant for that. I have heard also, and I've tried to verify this through different sources, that a human stomach is not able to digest blood. And I can't verify that either way. I see websites and stuff saying both things, like yes, it's perfectly fine, and no, it doesn't actually get digested. And on the other end of that was a pun. Our intestinal tract is very long and much closer to that of an herbivore's. A carnivore's intestinal tract is very short to digest the meat and get it out.
John, plug White Gold talking about how we have a mile of intestines.
I believe that's not
It would
real
be
because
slippery.
how big are your large and small intestines? They go
Miles.
for feet.
Miles.
Miles?
I believe so.
What? It can't be miles.
Miles of intestines.
You don't have miles of intestines.
I'm Googling it.
Google it.
Keep talking.
5,280 feet
You have
is
so
a
many
mile. There is
intestines.
no way you have a mile.
that much in you. That's only 1 mile.
Maybe in your frame, but not this frame.
I'm a big man. I have miles.
Oh my god.
So yeah, if you want to talk about the human anatomy related to necessarily what we're supposed to eat, air quotes there, then I mean that doesn't really matter.
Okay. Do we have a naturally predatorial animalistic instinct?
That's interesting.
Because that's what they said last week when I asked why, if we got plant-based meat to taste exactly like meat, why anyone would bother killing animals anymore. Because there's no point anymore. Now you can just make this out of plants.
Right.
And the response was that we have a need to kill. And I'm not trying to be a dick, Jay, but I didn't understand what you meant. Like, do we really have the need to murder? Because some people never murder an animal, so...
Yeah, I wonder what the percentage of humans that have actually, gone hunting and killed something. You know what I mean? Like, I have never, personally, I've never gone hunting. I've shot a gun with my dad when I was little or that kind of thing, but I've never actually gone hunting. I've never felt the need to go hunting. I've never had the urge to go hunting. Basically, the only thing I've ever killed in my life is mice, and
I'm so pissed at you for that, too.
I used traps.
The fuck did they do to you?
I did not grab them and break their necks with my hands or anything.
Jesus. If you're gonna do it, do it right.
I feel like hunting came out of a necessity. So this is some of the other research that I did. Like the growing paleo diet, you know what I mean, where it's meat. We were meant to eat meat, but you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And scientists kind of laugh at that and say there is no one paleo diet, depending on what part of the earth you happen to be on at the time. There's not one specific, and it was constantly changing depending on what you know, where you were and what you needed. I mean, I think a lot of times it came down to either I kill this animal or I starve. And, you know, going to county market, that is not my situation.
Yeah.
Right? So we're in a place where we have choice. I think that there was technology, it kind of branched off. There was technology for hunting, arrows and traps and, you know, and all of that kind of stuff, but there was also technology for agriculture and growing, and
that's what kind of led to the start of civilizations and communities, was farming, learning how to farm.
Right. And there's also the argument about cooking food, and that was needed for brain development.
That's how we got to be not monkeys.
So what I've read, and this is not my area of expertise at all.
No, you're not yet, but you will be a legal administrative specialist.
No, don't even put that in there. So there's kind of a version of it where it's not necessarily just cooking meat, but cooking food at all really expanded our diet and also our development. So things like root vegetables and I'm trying to think, like potatoes, but it wasn't necessarily potatoes. Tubal, I can't remember the name of the kind of vegetable it is.
Oh, okay.
Like roots and stuff that would normally be too bitter and too tough to chew, then got added to our diet because we were able to cook it, soften it, you know what I mean, and be able to eat it. And as far as the brain development, it's more a matter of your brain needing fat. But there are many other sources of fat that are not animal fat that can be eaten. So,
do you think? Okay, having said all that, just in your own non-expert opinion, do you think if we had never eaten meat at any point in our human history that we would have developed into what we are now?
I have no idea.
Do you think that it had anything to do with us developing as humans instead of just ape men?
I think it maybe could have, but I'm sure that there are tribal communities and areas of the world that never really ate much meat. They didn't, and they still don't.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like, I don't know that food was the thing that launched us from being monkey men to assholes in suits. I don't think that was probably it, but that's a theory. The other theory is like things like mushrooms and shit like that. So you can go the other direction and say like psilocybin mushrooms and shit like that got the brain to expand in consciousness and stuff. And that's a vegetable. So,
right.
You know, they could be completely opposite of what stupid ass Joe Rogan thinks. I should stop trashing him.
I honestly have no idea. I do know that, and this is something else I researched just today. There is.
Did you hear that?
That's my phone.
It's your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't mean to make the show come to a grinding halt. Remember where you are, because every night I hear a phone buzzing. Every night. And I think it's the neighbors, but it sounds like it's up here.
It might be. Like if she has it on a table that's right by your wall, and then the wall.
Oh my god, and it's just all night long, and I'm like, check your phone! It drives me nuts. I'm like, did the last person that lived here leave their phone here?
Under the floorboards. It's like the telltale heart.
It is. I'm going to dig up the floorboards and be like, where's the phone? Find a body. Alright, where were you?
So, the one thing I found really interesting in my research is that human diets have varied, and usually it has been out of necessity, but not always with great results. Like, there are plenty of times where humans have tried to eat something and been poisoned by it, or they've started eating something and they ate too much of it. There was an example of they found like fossils in a cave somewhere in South America, and that they had died from their fossils, or their bones were all like, they had these bumps all over them and stuff, and they did all this testing, and they had actually died from vitamin A overdose.
Ooh.
Which is like a long, painful death, but it would have been from eating animal livers. Like, and eating only animal livers, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, so just because it has been done doesn't necessarily mean that it is meant to be, or the right way, or, you know.
Did you hear that, everybody? That goes for everything, all of the time.
Why?
If I could make a motto for this show, that would be it. Just because it's been done doesn't mean it needs to be done that way now.
Right. I mean, you know, don't look at our ancestors as geniuses.
No, they had limited information, and they did not live in the time we live now.
Right.
So they didn't have the resources or any of that shit.
Right.
Okay. So, why do you think it is that in order to have a meatless diet or a vegan diet, it costs more? I feel like it's on purpose.
I feel like that's a fallacy.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can find the kind of stuff that you need to have this diet cheap.
For sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, when you're talking about things like I have gone to Whole Foods and I've gotten the very expensive like vegan sausage and the vegan cheese and that kind of stuff. It'll kind of like scratch that itch if you're, you know, craving something. Which, by the way, the vegan mozzarella was freaking amazing with some tomatoes, basil, olive oil.
It was still. Did it taste like mozzarella?
It was so good.
Okay.
I'd even venture to say it was even a little bit better than like fresh mozzarella. Like it was amazing.
I'll be the judge of that.
All right, I'll let you have some.
All right.
So if you're going that route, if you're just trying to find meat and dairy replacements, yes, that is expensive. But as far as like a day-to-day diet, for me, it consists of a lot of fresh vegetables, right? Which, I mean, I shop at Aldi, so
that's
cheap. Green peppers are $1 something.
Yeah.
Onion, a whole bag of onions is, $1.99, something like that. Like, that kind of thing. Also, frozen vegetables, which are usually around $1 for a frozen bag of vegetables. Rice, oats, beans, all very, extremely cheap stuff. And I could probably, I would love to do a challenge of like how much I would need to live for like a week, but I could probably live just myself on vegan food, I'd say for $10 or under for a week.
That is a fallacy then, because it costs like $8 for good sausage. So.
Yeah. It depends on what you want and what you. I mean, it's just like there are vegetarians, and like my husband was vegetarian, but he kept gaining weight. And it's because he was eating things like double fluffernutter sandwiches, which technically is, yes, vegetarian, but it is not healthy.
Right.
So vegan restricts that a little bit, but you could still eat a fluffernutter sandwich and be vegan. So
you can still be unhealthy and be a vegan.
You can still be unhealthy because sugar, any type of sugar, you can overdo it on pasta and that kind of stuff. Chocolate itself is vegan. It's when you add cow's milk to it that it's not. And there's plenty of ways to make chocolate sauces and chocolate cakes and everything just using an alternative milk, coconut milk, almond milk, whatever.
By the way, I drink coconut milk, but it's not because I'm vegan.
I don't know if anybody will get what you mean by that.
Somebody out there knows, and they're like, "Oh man, amen, brother." Okay, so we're gonna take a Johnsequitur left turn a little bit here because that's what we do. Did you do any research on factory farming and why it ruins regular farms? Or maybe just tell me what you learned about factory farming first.
Okay, so that documentary Earthlings goes into great detail and has a ton of footage from industrial farms, all extremely disturbing.
Yes.
And that's another reason that the vegan and environmentalism go a little bit hand in hand, is because of how much, greenhouse gases and emissions
They're going to get rid of our hamburgers.
animal agriculture produces. So I'd say I don't know if I could really break it down, like the reasons for me choosing the diet that I'm choosing, and a large chunk of that definitely is just a moral, how animals are treated, not wanting to support that industry, which immediately makes people roll their eyes and call me a pussy, which is fine. I can deal with that.
I have a problem with that, if you don't mind.
You have a problem with what?
People being called a pussy for not wanting to murder animals.
I thought you had a problem with me.
What the fuck? No. Just
So I'll just tell you a few things about what I've seen.
Good,
and
you have
what
sentences. I just had noises.
and what I've learned. And a lot of people actually, I pulled up this website today. It was a dairy farm website. It's called The Farmer's Wife E. Oh my God, The Farmer's Wifey .com. That makes me sad.
That's too inside. Nobody's gonna get this.
Okay. So, first of all, let's talk cows. So first of all, the average lifespan of a cow is about 20 years. The average lifespan of a dairy cow, a cow that is born specifically for the production of milk, the average lifespan is 5 years.
Real quick, what happens to male dairy cows that are born? You know this.
They're either sent off for meat or they're killed.
Yeah, they're killed.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So she even says on here, and she's like defending her dairy farm, basically. Cow gives birth to a calf, and the calf is taken away from its mother within 24 hours.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know. I know people's attitude towards animals and that kind of thing, but like I have seen footage
You shouldn't need to
animals that you are just in grieving and pain. I just the other day I watched a documentary about elephants. There was an elephant that gave birth to a stillborn elephant, and she stood over top of it for like a week and just moaning and making noises, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you see something like that, you can't deny that they know what's going on, or they don't know what's going on and they're upset about it.
I think people tell themselves that animals don't feel so that they are able to excuse what they do. I think they have to tell themselves that, because even the most, unless you're a psychopath, even the most cold-hearted person who's making meat feels bad. A little bit. It's like a twinge, maybe, with some of them. And they have to tell themselves, it's fine. They don't understand compassion. They don't understand that they had babies and that's their baby. They don't get that. Yes, they fucking do.
Yeah.
They absolutely do.
And I understand, like I said, I've never been a hunter or anything, but I do have a little bit more respect for somebody who is a hunter that then understands they've killed an animal and they have respect for that, and, are not just like, yeah, die, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Because I've seen in slaughterhouses, that's the attitude toward it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, bitch, you're gonna die. Like, just very crass. And, if you do kill something, then I feel like you need to understand the weight of it. That you've taken a life, no matter what that life is.
This wouldn't be a Johnsequitur if I didn't bring up Texas Chainsaw Massacre again. Look at the people who were working in the slaughterhouse in that movie. Just look at them. Like, literally, it's just like these people who, they go in and they mechanically shoot that bolt into the cows' heads. And then they're like, you know what? I don't want to eat cows anymore. I'm going to eat humans. And they treat the humans like the cows. They're like, yeah, scream, scream, clack.
That's what happens in that movie?
It's a guy who works at a slaughterhouse.
Mm-hmm.
He's disfigured. And they shut it down because the community's falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we got to get meat somehow. Fill in the blanks.
I feel bad that, so while I have seen footage of really horrible things happening in slaughterhouses, first of all, that environment comes from the top. So, like, at some point, these workers are made to think that it's okay to act that way and do those things. To, you know what I mean? Like, beating the animals and all that kind of stuff. In a way, I feel bad for them because I'm sure that was not their first choice for a job. I don't think anybody is a little kid that dreams about working in a slaughterhouse when they're older, and if they do,
They're psycho.
Put them in therapy.
Yeah.
So anyway, so back to Farmer's Wifey. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in here about like if cows don't breed and if their milk they don't produce enough milk to cover the cost of their feed. Which, by the way, back to square one here. Why are we drinking cow's milk in the first place?
Who fucking looked at a milk or a cow and went, I'm gonna put my mouth on that? Suck on it.
Exactly.
This needs butter.
Who was?
But it'll be good when we add it.
Who's the Jay and Silent Bob? Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
He's vegan now, and it kind of slowly. His daughter was vegan and just would say things like "not your mom, not your milk," stuff like that. Like I have no idea at what point humans were like, "I'm gonna start drinking things that were meant for animal babies." You know what I mean? Like humans produce their own milk for their own babies.
And when it's, by the way, because I did say in the description of this show that it's about fetishes too. Why is it frowned upon that humans want human milk? Like, human milk is made for humans, right? I mean, it's made for babies. It's made specifically for babies.
Right.
But you would think if you're going to drink it out of a cow's udder, you could drink it out of a human being because it's made for humans. It's got the nutrients for humans.
I mean, if it's okay with the mom, if it's your thing, go for it.
I want coconut milk, honestly. That shit is
spectacular. Suck on a coconut.
I want to suck on a coconut hard, yeah. Get those splinters in my mouth.
Okay, so the thing that really hit me on this page, because she says things like, well, that sounds harsh, doesn't it? Wait, let me find it.
Okay, while you're looking for it, I just want to tell a story about this thing that I've been watching because I want to get a cat, but it's better to watch cats online than to buy one and have one poop in your house. I've been watching these videos of animals being rescued and stuff, and they found a baby goat. These people found a baby goat by itself, and it was like freaking out and stuff. And so they went walking.
Another example of feeling.
Yeah. Well, it gets better because this baby goat goes with them up to where they know these other mountain goats are up on this ledge, and they go up to the ledge where the mountain goats are, and when the baby goat sees its mom, it absolutely loses its mind and runs up to it and is jumping up and down, and the mom's screaming, and I'm like, no, they're just dumbass animals. Yeah, they don't feel anything. Yeah. Idiots.
Yeah.
Alright, did you find what you were looking for?
I've seen so much of that. There was like a water buffalo that like I think it was in India, somebody took their baby and this water buffalo chased this motorcycle. They had the baby like just thrown over the top of this motorcycle, and this water buffalo chased them for miles trying to get her baby back. Like, there's I mean, you can't tell me that they're just, they're widgets for our consumption.
They'll go with it. It's instinct too. So what? If it's instinct, then why are you fucking with it?
Well, right. So this is what it says. So you might be thinking, wow, this is kind of harsh. It does sound... And she says, it really isn't. Dairy cows do in fact serve two purposes. Produce dairy products and beef products.
That's it.
Who decided that? Who decided that a cow's purpose in life was to produce milk for humans and then be killed for humans?
I'm going to say Elon Musk because I hate that motherfucker. It's all him.
So, like, that just tells me that there's no real thought, like, going into this. There's no... I'm sure, and I don't know if maybe you remember this with your son, but at some point, kids ask, "What is this?" when they're eating a hamburger, or they're, you know what I mean, like, "What is this that I'm eating?" And the first time you tell them that it's a chicken or it's a cow that they've been learning about in school goes moo moo, and you know, like, that they're not freaked out. I mean, I remember my kids being like, "Wait, so how did this get? What do you mean this is?" What do you mean this is a chicken? Like, what happened? Like, how is it? Like, what is it? What, you know what I mean? And they're freaked out. And they have to be talked into the fact that it's okay. It's okay. Just eat it.
Then when you're saying it out loud to them, you're like, oh. Yeah, well, you're lucky because you didn't have to explain what cannibalism is to your kid. So.
Well, why would I have to? I'm sure I did at some point, but why would I have to there?
He's
How
like,
did that come
how
up?
many cannibals are there in the world? And I'm like, I don't
Where do you
think...
hear the word
Not
cannibal?
from me.
Do you have a Cannibal Holocaust
No.
poster in this?
No.
Okay.
YouTube.
What
Motherfucker
did he
was
see
on
it
YouTube,
What
and
did
he
see
saw
on YouTube?
something about cannibals. I don't remember what it was, but he was asking me about cannibals, and he's like, they eat people? And I'm like, well, the people are dead. And he's like, how often does this happen? And I'm like, not since,
The Donner Party.
I told him the Donner Party story. And then I remembered, as I was telling him, there's a scene in The Shining where Jack is explaining the Donner Party to his kid, and it has sinister music, because why the fuck are you telling your kid about the Donner Party? And then I'm like, yeah, why the fuck are you telling your kid about the Donner Party? And I'm like, you know what, Garrett, that's enough for tonight. I'm done.
But you don't want to relive The Shining?
Well, he was like, when's the last time it happened? And I said, what did I say? What's the name of that serial killer who was eating? Dahmer. I was like, Jeffrey Dahmer. And it was like this 80s. And he's like, who's that? I'm like, a guy who ate people. What, alive?
Sure.
I'm like, no, they were dead.
I'm sure there's more people. I'm sure. I won't tell Garrett, I promise.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'm sure that somebody out there is just absolutely cringing and like thinking that I'm full of shit and this is stupid.
Well, they've
and
been at
whatever.
45 minutes, so hang on tight.
But like this works for me. Eating this way works for me. I like the taste of the food better.
Keep eating your steak, it's
I
fine.
enjoy it
Right?
more. Like, I feel better
Yeah.
about myself in general. I mean, that is weird to say, but like,
You know how weird it feels? You probably do. You know how weird it feels to say, I don't like that they kill the cows, but I like the steaks, so I guess I'm okay with it.
yeah.
It feels weird.
No, but there's always, like, on any of the vegan YouTube channels or anything like that, there's always trolls that are just throwing out, you know, I killed it myself and it was delicious, and, you know, just trolling. And
Well, last week there was two sides to this. There was Liquid Thunder said he would never kill the animal. I know, right? Liquid Thunder
Can
said
I
he
just
would
call
never.
him LT?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, there you go, LT. He said he would never kill an animal himself, but he will eat them. Whereas Jay was like, I'll kill him and eat him. And I'm kind of in the middle because I have killed animals before, and you know how I felt about that.
You weren't happy.
I was unhappy. The only thing I was happy about was the first two times I did it, it happened quick, and they dropped. The third time when it was still alive, it broke me to pieces, and I'm in front of all these rednecks who were like, you know, hardened serial murderers. So they weren't having it at all. And that was when I decided I was done shooting things. So, yeah. Sometimes you gotta learn the hard way, I guess. But, I mean, I never liked to shoot animals. Never. When I was a little kid, my dad was skinning a deer with his friends in the garage because they had killed it. And I got made fun of because I was, like, talking to the deer head, like, hey, are you alright? Everything's gonna be okay. Because I didn't understand, like, what the hell is happening? All I know is deer running in field, meat.
Yeah.
Not what happens in between. Not anything from the shooting to the skinning.
That's just it. I feel like if you knew at an early age what really went into
I don't know that I would have not eaten.
the food that goes into
I would have
your,
felt
like,
bad.
See, but you never have even had the stomach to watch some of the stuff
can't.
that I've watched.
I can't.
So let me just give you a few examples. I think I was going to do this before, and then I got sidetracked. Okay.
Welcome to Johnsequitur.
Pigs. So baby pigs, their
Ugh.
tails are cut off, their ears are cut off, their teeth are cut off, and they're castrated with no anesthesia or pain medicine or anything. And to watch it, they're in pain. They're in real fucking pain. They're squealing. They're trying to get away. They're, you know what I mean?
They don't know what they're doing, though.
Yeah. And the castration, they say that it's because it produces a fattier meat. I don't understand it at all. But
That doesn't sound like there's any science behind that at all.
I mean,
Not at all.
Who knows? I mean, the dairy cows, like, that really gets to me as somebody who has been milked in her life.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You told me that when they're going in the lines, where they're walking in one by one, and they start to realize what's going on in front of them, they try to get away.
Yep.
Nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah, and they get, like, the cows will get a bolt to their head, but that doesn't necessarily always kill them.
Right.
And a lot of times they're hanging upside down, being bled, still moving around, still writhing, still, you know what I mean? There's two, so that the documentary Earthlings talks about how humans use animals for food, pets, entertainment, and clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So probably the most disturbing thing I saw was goats being skinned alive.
For what?
It was in, I want to say India, but I can't remember. They had, like, slit its throat, but it was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And they skinned it, and, like, you could see, like, it looking around. It was still alive with no fur or skin on. It just absolutely disturbing. And then the other one was coyotes. Is it no, not coyotes. Well, there's several different animals that are just trapped and then kept for their fur.
Yeah, we talked about trapping last week too.
So there's these warehouses with just these animals, like, just in cages. They start to go a little bit. They start to go mad, and
They attack,
like, with
you
the
and bite your
pacing.
arm, and then you're like, I hate these things, and then you get paid to get your cheese that you liked because your parents wouldn't pay for the cheese that you liked, and then you realize, oh my god, they're killing these things for their fur. I feel really bad about this, and then you get stung by bees and you quit.
I feel like this is a personal thing.
Yeah.
Oh, right, you worked on that mink farm.
Yeah, I'm surprised I don't get more shit for that. I never killed one. Well, no, that's not true. I accidentally ran one over with a lawnmower. Accidentally.
Oh.
And I felt bad. And I never hit them on the head or took their fur off. I just hit one with a lawnmower.
You didn't realize they were killing them when you?
I didn't. I didn't know what
You
mink...
were like 16, right?
I was 14.
Oh, 14.
I didn't know what anything was. The only thing I knew when I was there, and this is not an excuse because I could have looked into it, but the only thing I knew was I hated the smell of mink shit, and I had to scoop it, and I was very upset, and I fed them and watered them. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but they don't seem too happy about it, and I'm not too happy.
Were
And,
they in cages?
yeah, and we were miserable together, us, me and the minks, and there were hundreds of them. And here's the thing.
Did you ever see them killed
No,
or anything?
never. But here's the thing. Here's where I got confused later on in life. That mink farm, they would routinely, take them out, kill them, and take their skin, right? That's what the point of a mink farm is. However, when someone else went there and murdered all of them as revenge for some family inheritance or something, oh, it was a big deal. Huge deal. Oh my god, who would do that to a bunch of mink? Whoa.
They were gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, they were, weren't they? That's when I was like, why do you care so much about... Is it because you didn't get to kill them? Is that what it is?
Man.
What really was disturbing was they killed the dog, too, which was really fucked up. Whoever did this was a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
But
It was a family thing?
a family thing.
They think.
Something about inheritance, and they knew that they were making money off the minks,
Right.
so they went there and killed all the minks so they wouldn't grow enough to get the hair.
Mm.
Now, my question was always with that thing, too, like, if you're killing all the minks, where are the new minks coming from? Or are you not killing all of them?
I'm sure they breed them before they kill them.
Oh, good. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, and then get back in your cages.
I'm sure they artificially inseminate.
Man.
I know, right?
What was I doing?
So, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know. But, like, in general, that's generally the way it's done.
It's one
You know
thing
what I
for
mean?
meat, which I also... I don't... Because I wanted to get into the factory farming thing because I wanted to know if there was, like, a humane way to go about murdering animals for meat. That's why I wanted to get into the factory farming.
Yeah.
But it's another for skin, for hair, for shit like
Right.
that, for trapping stuff and hitting them over. We talked about that too. People trap animals. They're stuck in that thing overnight. Then they show up and hit them over the head with something, and they don't even. They call it disposing of the animals,
They don't
not
always hit
killing
them over
them.
the head. This is the other worst thing that I saw was killing foxes by anal electrocution.
That's creative, and that makes me scared.
That was like they put like an electric probe up their ass and then force them to bite down on a bar, so then the electricity, jolts through their body, and many times it does not work on the first try and they have to keep doing it. That was very disturbing to me.
Human beings have a history not only with animals but of themselves of coming up with creative ways to murder things.
So
That's disturbing.
That goes back a little bit to, okay, humans have a need to kill or whatever. Like, so I would wonder if you would say to a hunter who maybe uses a bow and arrow or even a gun, okay, so this is how you kill your food, or this is, how you do this. Look at these other ways that killing is done. Do you consider that to be like the natural, normal order of things? Because a lot of it is just unnecessary, inhumane. They even have like kosher, like ones that are supposed to be kosher, and hardly are ever actually, like, there's certain requirements for how everything is supposed to be done humanely, but it's still not.
What the hell is humanely? What does that mean?
I forget what the requirements were. It was something like they weren't supposed to be, like, a cow is not supposed to be inverted. Because when their throat is cut, then they like aspirate and breathe in and so it's kind of like a way of like, it's more torturous, I guess. I don't get any of it because I don't want to do. I don't want any of it in the first place. But there are supposed to be better ways to do things. Now I have seen other things about like local farmers and how they do things. And they call it more humane, like cutting the chickens' throats and that kind of thing, because it's quick and fast, and okay, great.
I've heard it's more humane to let them wander around, but you're still murdering them when it's over. I mean,
right?
That's what I've always wondered about.
I understand the idea of like giving them a better life and all that kind of thing, but you're still bringing them into this world specifically for the purpose of killing and then eating. And I get it. I've eaten meat for a lot of years, but it's not necessary anymore. It's not like we're, on the hunt for our last meal or we're gonna die.
It's the extreme amount that we do that bothers me.
Well, and that's the other thing, that the amount of animals that we're producing, we are like producing them. We're artificially inseminating them. This is not naturally occurring. And I found some numbers on that too. Let me see if I can find it.
You guys depressed yet?
That's what I mean when I say I have a clear conscience, because I've seen all this and I know that I'm not contributing to it. Estimated 50 billion chickens are slaughtered for food every year, and that excludes male chicks and unproductive hens that are killed. So that's the other thing. So if you're egg producers, when new chicks are born, they immediately put the male, because the male chicks will not produce eggs, so they immediately put them into like a grinder and just.
Yep, I've seen this. I did watch a documentary on this.
Did you?
I did.
300 million cows killed for food every year. We're overproducing. We're way overproducing. 77 billion land animals are slaughtered for food every year. There's only 8 billion, a little under 8 billion people in the world. And when you figure some of these animals are 300 pounds, like, it's too much. Add into that the fact that 40% of all food, now that being plants, animals, everything, 40% of all food is thrown out, wasted, gone bad, so, 40%.
A lot of these animals are born to be made into food, and then they don't even get eaten.
Right, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Exactly. Anyway, so That's what I mean when I say my conscience is clear.
Sure. Yeah. Mine isn't.
But
I'm trying.
I'm not, and like I said, no, and like you talk about how you want chicken tacos, and it's not like, you know what happened, you know what happens to chicken, like, no,
I do.
I'm not trying
I feel like
to...
I'm gonna survive without my chicken tacos. I will. I'll be fine. I'll find other things
I
to
just
eat.
had some amazing vegetarian chili today.
I make vegetarian chili.
With
I seriously
avocado.
do.
With avocado, which is like, and I know avocado is all like bougie, but it's my new favorite thing. And guess what? Avocados are like 49 cents.
You know, if you millennials would stop eating your avocado I told you this today.
Avocado
Stop
toast.
eating your avocado toast. You wouldn't be broke all the time.
You wouldn't be broke. Guess what?
What?
A loaf of bread is $1.50.
Yeah.
And 3 avocados are $1.50. So
Also,
avocado toast all week, motherfucker, for $3.
I am a millennial and you're older than me. So
Hey, there's no need to bring that shit up.
I shouldn't be lecturing you of all things. Shit. I don't know. Like, I'm really encouraged that they are doing lots of research on plant-based meats. And I like plant-based sausage. It's fantastic.
Actually, of all the plant-based quote-unquote meat, sausage is really the only one that I like.
Did you like the Ultimate Whopper or the Impossible Whopper?
It was okay.
I don't like Whoppers to begin with, so
yeah,
it's kind of
it was
like...
okay. I find that beef is not necessarily like something that can be imitated so well. The thing about sausage is because you can make sausage from so many, like you can have pork sausage, chicken sausage, beef sausage, like you can have sausage made from all different meats. But what really makes it sausage is the seasonings you put into it. The fennel.
That's why you're on this show.
What?
It took 60 minutes to get to, but I want some tofu things to explain to people how to cook tofu.
Oh, well, okay, so first of all, the sausage is really good because it is about the seasonings. That's what makes it taste like sausage. So you can take pretty much any blank canvas and make it taste sausage-like. So that's the best kind of like fake meat to me.
And that's exactly what you do with tofu. It depends on what you season it with.
So tofu, and I hadn't even tried to cook tofu until maybe 2 months ago, maybe, and even then I kind of like tread lightly.
Don't tread on me.
Because, and there's all different kinds of tofu. I think that's the other thing, that if somebody who's looking into this kind of thing, first of all, you say the word tofu and it's almost as bad as vegan.
Right.
But, there's like kind of like creamier, soft tofu that's good for blending up and making into like puddings and desserts and cheesecake and stuff like that. Then there's the firmer tofu, which to me tastes like egg whites, basically very, very bland. So, but it is a really good source of protein if that's something you're concerned about. So if you take tofu and like whatever seasoning you add to it. So if you would like crumble it up and make like a burrito bowl using tofu instead of beef or chicken, you have so much of the taco seasoning or whatever seasoning you're using that's just what the tofu tastes like. It's whatever you add to it is what the tofu tastes like. So I've used it a lot for like Asian dishes in place of like chicken, because that's a lot if you put the seasoning, the seasoning is what's really important. And so you put the, soy sauce and ginger and brown sugar and garlic and all that. So it ends up tasting really good. Like I said, I feel like I'm eating better food and I really like the food I've been eating better than any food I've had before.
I didn't mind the tofu. It was fine.
You've tried a couple of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I made you didn't like, I put red wine in the sauce and you didn't like that, right?
Figures. I don't care.
But
no, I don't care.
because we have all these plant-based milks and stuff like that, like there's creamy sauces and I really feel like I eat better than I ever had.
I feel like you almost have to introduce this stuff to people like you do with kids. You have to give them the stuff. Don't tell them what it is. They eat it. They realize it's good. Then you tell them what it is. And then you watch them either act like a 6-year-old and go, oh, did I say I like it? I mean I hate it. Or they go, oh, well then I'll just eat this from now on. Like, I've heard people get really, really upset at the prospect of beef being replaced by plant-based beef.
What upsets them about it?
That's what I asked last week, and I got the answer people like to kill. I don't know what... Because if it tastes the same, or close to the same, the reason I'll eat a hamburger is not the hamburger. I've told you this. I want as much shit on top of that burger so I don't taste the burger anymore. Blue cheese that motherfucker. Mold it up. I don't care. But I don't want to taste the burger.
Right.
Like, so if... Again,
but some people do like the taste of
some people
burger.
do, but if you can make that taste, if you can make that flavor, then what's missing? Nothing.
The blood.
The blood, right? Some people must... I hate to say it, but I feel like some people must like the idea that a cow was shot in the head and chopped up while still alive.
I think there are people that...
Sadists.
But it's also... It's what we're taught, because... Like, I was just even looking at... Like, my mom was raised in, like, the 50s, and it was meat and potatoes every night. There was no... Like, there's no reason to think that you shouldn't eat that way. There's no reason to think that you shouldn't be drinking cow's milk. There's no reason...
I mean, yes, there is, but...
Like, I mean... And that's what I remember a doctor of mine saying, like, dairy usually has one of two effects on people. Like, it either makes you go or it stops you from going. Like... So to me, that doesn't seem natural that those foods have a definite effect on people.
Right.
So like, and I don't know when it started, like the meat and potatoes, because I know like 100 years ago, meat was like kind of a delicacy. You didn't, not a delicacy, but it was rarer, you know what I mean? Like I remember seeing things about like the Depression, and it was a lot of potatoes, a lot of onions, a lot of like easy to grow root vegetables, stuff like that. Meat was not as easy to come by, and since then it's the opposite. Now we're eating, I think it was something like since the 1950s, the amount of meat that we eat has increased by like 60%.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, the only thing I can figure is it's being pushed on us.
But why?
By things like the dairy industry, the meat industry. You need this. You gotta have it. This is good for you.
So,
this is what...
Conspiracy theory time.
Ooh.
No, I think...
Hold on, I need one of those.
Okay. I think I've told you this conspiracy theory before.
Tell me.
Tell me.
Some of the PETA videos, I think, are actually designed to make people eat meat. And here's why.
I don't know that...
I think PETA...
I don't know that I've seen very many PETA videos.
I think PETA wants to make vegetarians look like fucking lunatics. I think they want to. So then people go, I'm not doing that. If you watch a PETA video, it's people fucking throwing blood of animals on people walking down runways. It's people doing just the most insane ass shit. And you're like, dude, just eat vegetables. What the fuck are you doing?
Well, the extremists in any movement make the normal people look like idiots.
But there have been examples of people finding on PETA headquarters freezers full of animal meat that they use for their videos so that they can convince people not to eat meat. They kill animals to convince people to not kill animals.
That doesn't sound right.
Something's fishy.
Yeah.
No pun intended, because we're talking about meat. But speaking of that, oh, fish. That's the one. That's the one. I don't know if I could stop eating fish. I hope that they can come up with a plant-based fish, because god damn it, I love fish. You know I love fish.
I've never heard a man say that in my life, and I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
I remember you, when we first started talking, I remember you saying, I love fish so goddamn much. And I was like, I really like seafood too. And I remember being like, that's really nice that he can say that.
Oh, man, there's not a... if you took chicken away from me, just keep the fish. You can take it all. I'm not a steak guy. I like steak. It's fine. If I never ate steak again, I wouldn't care.
So just like any other kind of, like...
Here we go. Let's hear about the fish being
whatever.
sad, because it's going to make me sad.
There's these sad fish and they're
Yeah.
crying all over the ocean. No, so there's so many different levels. So my first question is, have you done a lot of fishing in your life?
Early on, not later on.
Okay, did you eat the fish?
Yes.
And?
Fantastic.
Okay. So now this is the difference between you and me.
Mhm.
When I was 10 years old, I went deep sea fishing with my family in Ocean City, Maryland. We were out on the boat. I caught more fish than anybody else in my family, at least 15 of them.
Badass.
And everybody was telling me how awesome I was, and I was so proud of myself. I was catching all these fish, even though it was deep sea fishing, so it's not really any skill of my own or anything like that. But I was 10, and I was like, this is awesome.
I think I know where this is going, because I had an experience similar to where I think this is going, and it really upset me.
All right.
So, okay.
So I catch all these fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because everybody is so encouraging and so proud of me, and I'm so proud of myself, and I'm like, and they tell me, like, we can take the fish home, and I'm like, I'm gonna eat these fucking fish for dinner. And my grandmother and my aunts, we had all this fish, and they breaded and fried it, and they baked it, and they broiled it, and they seasoned it with different seasonings, and it was like this buffet of all types of fish cooked in all different ways.
Oh man, heaven.
And we sat down at the table, and all day I'm going, I'm going to eat those fish I caught. I'm going to eat them. I'm going to eat them. They're going to be so good.
Did it hit you at some point?
I sat down at the
Okay, here we
table.
go. Mm-hmm.
I looked at the plates. I saw the fish. I immediately, in my mind, saw them flopping around in the bag that they went into after I caught them, and I could not take a single bite.
Yep. Yeah.
I just couldn't. I was like, I can't.
There's a step missing there. Now, if you don't see that step, I saw the step because I would catch them, and for the longest time it was I'd catch them, give them to my dad, and the next thing I know, I'm eating fish. And that kept happening, and then I catch them, and my dad's not around, and I'm like, what do I do with this fish? I guess just put it in the water until he gets back. So I put it in the water and it swam away. And I'm like, fuck, well, that didn't work. What does he do with them? I don't understand. How does he make this happen? How do the fish get to be food?
Right.
And then I saw him, and he would just throw them on the land. And they would flop around until they suffocated and died. And I'm like, that's messed up, man.
I didn't know that part.
That's messed up.
How old were you?
Oh, young, because I fished a lot when I was young. And I still ate them, but it didn't feel right, because I'm like, oh, those things are alive, I think, maybe. I didn't have a real grasp on what alive was, but they definitely seemed like something was not quite right.
Right.
They didn't look different, but they looked like they were struggling, and the part, here's the thing that made me start questioning animals. I'm saying this, I still eat meat. So, but I'm saying this because it messed me up. I saw my granddad and dad butcher a turtle, a live turtle, and if you've ever seen that, it is top 2 most disturbing things you'll ever see in your life, ever.
Really? What was different about? I mean, because you've seen
number one,
deer
it's deer. When you shoot a deer, most of the time it just drops over dead, and that's the end of it. Unless you're me and you shoot it in the ass like a dummy. But that's most animals are like that. You shoot it, it runs. When you find it again, it's dead. This thing was alive when they killed it, because there's no real way to kill a turtle unless you're killing it.
Like, how do they...
Oh, they hit it with a machete.
Like, cut its head off?
And arms. And then they have to split it open. Here's the thing about a turtle, and you're going to get sick from this.
I think I have more of a stomach than you do.
Okay. Yeah, it made me a little bit sick. I remember you cut the turtle's head off, and that motherfucker's still going.
Yeah.
Still going, still snapping, still like... Then you cut it open, you get out all the shit that you don't need for the meat and everything. The heart's still beating. Out of the chest, it's still fucking beating somehow. I'll never forget that. Watching a turtle's head and a heart beside each other, the mouth moving, the heart beating, and me being like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, it blew my mind.
How old were you?
Way too young.
I thought you were going to say way too old.
Oh, no, like 28. I'm like,
28.
what's happening here? No, dude, I was like 7 or 8, and I remember just being blown away by what I was seeing. And then they're pulling out the eggs from the turtle. They look like
a female.
They look like ping pong balls.
Yep.
So, like, I just remember a lot of confusion and disgusting things happening and not understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But then eating turtle soup. Mm-hmm. It's kind of how people are. They see this shit. They're like, what in the fuck is going on right now?
And you can rationalize that by saying it's necessary. But
There's
is it?
no need to
it?
chop the head off a turtle for soup for a party.
How much of it is really necessary?
None of that. None of that. Okay, here's a solution to the eating the meat problem. Wait for an animal to drop dead. Pick it up as soon as it drops dead. Mm-hmm. Then you can eat the meat. I think in the wild, where animals aren't chasing each other and slaughtering each other with their big teeth, I think most of the time they find a freshly dead corpse and just eat the freshly dead corpse.
Isn't that they're different? So there's like predator and prey, and then there's a term for animals.
Right, I can't remember what it is, but scavenger.
Scavenger.
Yeah, they just eat like
but
buzzards.
they'll even eat like rotted meat and stuff. Like they don't.
Yeah, buzzards don't give a shit. They'll eat anything off the road.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's maybe have cows, and when one dies, then you can turn it into meat. There's no need to have like 50 cows and kill them all in their prime. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But
back to the fish.
Okay,
so I'm not going to sit here and be like, fish are feeling, wonderful, sentient being. Like, I'm not going to get into that.
I've watched one let go of a hook, turn around, come back, and bite the hook again.
Yeah.
So
I think the biggest, and a lot of things with veganism is, so there's very specific things that you feel should or shouldn't happen, but a lot of it is about the industry as a whole. So in the fishing industry, we're catching so much fish. We're just ruining our oceans. Like, the amount of pollution from the nets and and then other animals getting killed because of it. Like,
other stuff gets stuck in the nets. Yeah.
There's a ton, like the coral reefs, like
they're
are
dying off. Yeah.
Dead practically. You know what I mean? And the Earth needs the ocean. We need the ocean.
That's what makes the Earth, man.
We really do. So, so that I feel like the fish and the seafood and not eating that, because for a while I was like, oh, I'll be a pescatarian where you don't eat meat but you do eat fish. But since then I've just been like, you know what? I don't need.
There's a term for it then.
I don't need crab that bad.
Oh no, not crab. The Bible says not to eat it anyway, so
There are fake like fish sticks and like fried fish, and I have not tried them yet, so I'll let you know.
I've just always assumed that those breaded ones are fake anyway.
But again, it's kind of a flavoring thing. I really like sushi, but I enjoy like the vegetable sushi with like avocado and carrot and cucumber, because just as much as I would with the fish in it, because I feel like it still has all those flavors that I really like. So, to me, yes, I like seafood, but it's not the hill I'm gonna die on.
That's my hill. I'm dying there. I gotta have seafood, man. I don't need crab. I don't need that stuff. We discussed this last week. Jay and I were like, they're bugs. They're bugs.
Bugs of the ocean.
Yeah. Liquid Thunder's like, they're not bugs, they're crustaceans. And I'm like, shut up, Mr. Scientist. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you go
I'm
out...
I'm not trying to convince you of anything.
Right,
I feel like you're struggling
No.
now.
No, everybody can just do what they want.
Yeah, for sure.
Just run amok. Fuck it. It's 2020. Who gives a shit anymore? But it's been a terrible year. Go chomp on a cow in a field somewhere with your raw teeth. But I feel like if I go out and catch a fish and then a period of time passes where I black out, and when I wake up the fish is cooked, then I'm good. I'm happy with that.
You know, or just go buy a salmon fillet
I'll
at the
go buy
store.
one that somebody else let drown from air. That's fine.
Yeah.
Don't think about that part, but oh my god. My dad had a fish tank with all these goldfish in it, and I had one. It was like 20 years old. I swear to God, this thing was old. Its name was Ass-Faced McGee, because it came home from a fair from me, and you know me, so I named it Ass-Faced McGee. But he was old, and he swam up into the filter of the fish tank. He got stuck, and he died. And then, like, 6 other fish died because the filter wasn't cleaning the water.
See, it's a delicate balance.
Yeah. And that right there, half of me was sad, and half of me was like, Jesus Christ, this is hilarious.
Yeah, I get it.
So, I don't know. I don't want to say that fish aren't people. They aren't. But I don't want to say that fish don't have feelings. I just feel more comfortable eating fish than I do an animal that's walking. Maybe it's because we're mammals and they're mammals. Maybe that's it.
Well, that's like the whole whale thing. I mean, I told you about the thing with the whales, and whales are extremely familial. Is
They
that the word?
communicate. They're fucking smart as
They
hell.
communicate with each other, and they stay together their entire lives, like in pods or whatever. And then we go in and take one and put it in SeaWorld, and it's and
Is
then,
that even happening
and
anymore?
then artificially inseminate it, and then take its baby
God.
away immediately, and then it has a fucking meltdown. For
And then
like
murders
months.
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why. Anyway.
We should hang it from a crane.
Oh my god. There was a whole thing. I mean, there have been several murders and stuff, and they're like, why are these huge, majestic animals that are meant to swim miles and miles a day, but instead they're in a 50 by 50 foot cage all their life? Like, why are they acting out?
Oh, because they hate humans. That's why. Well, yeah, actually, that's kind of the reason, you ass.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all very. That's like that was one of the other things. We use animals for entertainment. That and circuses, circi.
Yes,
circuses.
that is official.
Circi.
Yes.
You know, training elephants using fear, completely using fear.
I feel kind of
there's
bad
all
for.
It's we as humans just treat the rest of the world like shit.
Yeah. I feel kind of bad because I drove the whole way to Cincinnati to see manatees.
How were they?
They were amazing, and
Did
had
they
been.
look happy?
The one did. He was eating some lettuce, and he was like just having a great time.
Yeah. Well, at least they're not getting their backs cut up by boats.
No, that's I think the point. They had caught them in the wild, and they were injured in Florida, and so something I can't remember exactly what it is about manatees, but they tend to stay together too in groups. So these 3, it's normally 2. But these 3 had stayed together in Florida, and they wanted to move them because it wasn't a good environment for them, so they moved them to Cincinnati, which is a weird fucking place to move them. But it was like the only manatees in captivity anywhere. So I'm like, I'm fucking going, man. So I drove the whole way to Cincinnati and paid like $25 to go straight to the fucking manatee thing and go see the manatees for like 2 minutes.
Was it worth it?
Oh, yeah. And I brought home, like, a stuffed manatee and shit. Oh, man. Totally worth it.
See, and I feel like there is a difference between... Because we are humans, and we have so much power over animals if we choose to. And I feel like there's a difference between, like, breeding to be kept in captivity and, you know, breeding to eat and all of that kind of stuff. But there are also all of these places where there's sanctuaries. I saw a wolf sanctuary because the wolves are, you know, getting killed off. Another thing we're trying to make extinct. You know, giving them a place where they're safe. Like, there was another one, there's one in Northern California for elephants that have been in the circus and zoos and stuff like that. They're very mistreated, very old, very broken down, and give them a place to be safe and roam like they're supposed to. And you know what I mean?
Wouldn't, if you brought them, the problem is if you brought them back to Africa, they wouldn't survive.
No, they can't be, that's just it, they can't be let out into the wild again. So not, you know, as much as we have the power to kill and maim, we have the power to save and take care of,
Mhm.
it's, I'd much rather do that.
Hell yeah. I'm not about to eat a manatee. No worries there. Those motherfuckers are cool as hell.
Yeah.
I don't know how they get so fat because all they eat is lettuce.
They're plant-based.
Man, they get fat as fuck though.
Bringing it around.
Yeah. That's it for food. I think we've talked for over 3 hours about food now on this show. And again, she's not telling you not to eat meat. Go ahead and eat meat if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
I'm just
be aware that these things exist.
Giving my experience.
Yeah, and do whatever you want. It's fine. But that is it. If you want to get a hold of us, facebook.com. You just look up Johnsequitur in the search bar, and that's where we are. MakesSenseJohn@gmail.com. We're on Spotify. And did I miss anything? Write in and tell us your experience with food.
Call me a pussy because I don't eat animals.
Yeah, I think actually, before I sign out, most of the time when I read about podcasts with women on it, they complain that the women are too... I actually think this week, just listening to you and I talk, people are going to complain that you were like real calm, and I'm like, ah! Hey!
We'll see.
What's the sign out? Do you remember?
Bite me! No, bite it!
Bite it! Bite it!